Hey, it's Sifa. I'm going to be making this little video about why I used to injure myself and what my motivations were behind it and why other people injure themselves. Um, I have not injured myself since September of 2011. Yeah, September of 2011. So I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary this September. And I've been in recovery since about 2009. So it's been about 4 years now that I've been in recovery. Okay, so first of all, since I've been in recovery, I've always been haunted by the idea of why did I injure myself? Because, I did some really fucked up shit to myself. And I'm like, why did I do all that? Like, was I some kind of freak? Or, what was wrong with me that I hurt myself so badly and I did all these disgusting things, and what was wrong with me and why I've just been haunted by the questions of what happened to me to make me do this. And over the years I've been trying to think about, did I hate myself? Did something bad happen to me when I was little that I don't know about? What happened? But this is my best guess. I think that it all started when I was 14 because I was under immense stress and depression. And a lot of that was kind of instigated from my parents and the fact that I was depressed and so I wasn't doing very well in school. And so my parents reacted to that in a very negative manner. They reacted to that by blaming me, criticizing me, and just making me feel like absolute shit. Because I couldn't do well in school, I was so depressed that they basically would punish me so much that I felt like I had no control over my life. And I felt like I had no power in my life. And I just felt completely powerless. And I turned to self-injury because it gave me power. And it kind of gave me a way to rebel against my parents in a sick kind of way. Because every time that me and my mom would fight, I would just go in my room and cut myself. And I would feel like, that's what you get, bitch. That's what you get. And it was kind of weird because she didn't even know I was doing it. So why would she even care, It was really warped thinking. But I thought every time I hurt myself I was like, well, now you'll be sorry. Now you'll be sorry. It's your fault. So it was my only way of kind of getting back at them because I didn't have any power in my life. And I did that as an adult too. When I was in college, I had my I had this guy I was kind of in a relationship with, and he kind of would abandon me and avoid me and stuff. And every time that he didn't call me, I would cut myself. And every day he didn't call me, I would cut myself. And it was kind of my way of getting back at him in a sick kind of way. But so I always did it as revenge, when I was angry, out of anger. I was always very angry. It also helped me let out my emotions, as a form of emotional release, because I couldn't really cry. I never cried. I just physically couldn't do it because I was so numb all the time. And injuring helped me kind of let out emotions. Later on, as the years went by, it became a part of my identity. And I begun to like the fact that I was a self-injurer, and I was proud of my self-injury, and I was proud of my scars. And I kept wanting to push the envelope farther and farther and farther and do worse damage and do worse injuries and weird stuff, weird injuries with weird, chemicals and, devices and stuff and just weird stuff to myself. And I thought, that I would be, the worst self-injurer ever. And I was, on these forums and I was like, I'm gonna be worse than that person. I'm gonna be worse than that person. And I was like, it was this big part of my self-esteem. It was just really sick. But I wanted to be the sickest and the worst self-injurer that there ever was, because that was very important to me. I also thought that I was better than people who didn't hurt themselves. I thought that I was stronger, and I thought that I was more of a badass, and that I had seen more of the world, and that I had more experience than them, and that they were too pussy to hurt themselves. It was really, I don't know, it's it's so sick how my thinking was. But I really thought that I was somehow some kind of badass because I hurt myself and that they weren't as good as me, just ran, anybody. One thing that I wonder is, did I actually hate myself? Like, did I do it because I hated myself? I still don't know this. I don't know. But like looking back on my journals, from my journals when I was 14 years old, I do write about hating myself a lot. And so what I think happened is I think that I hated myself so much that I kind of internalized it and like began to be in denial of it and like pushed it inside myself. So I think that I did have a lot of self-hatred. I just wasn't necessarily aware of it. But those were the main reasons why I injured. Some other reasons why other people injure are to punish themselves, which you could say I did that. I mean, everybody that injures is technically punishing themselves, but some people do it on purpose, knowing that they are punishing themselves to punish themselves. Like, they're like, oh, I'm such a bad person, I'm gonna cut myself. Some people do that. Some people do it kind of to relive, like, past trauma. Like, if they've been, like, sexually abused or physically abused, they do it because of that. And it kind of, like, is, like, their way of kind of trying to cope with that in a morbid kind of way. Some people do it whenever they're like really dissociated, like when they're like having like out of body experiences or they feel like, like dizzy and confused and stuff. They do it to kind of get back in touch with reality and feel emotion. And then some people just use it as like a coping mechanism, as a way to deal with depression and stress and everything. But if you have any questions about self injury or why people do it or why you do it, or if you want to tell me why you do it or why you did do it when you used to, let me know in the comments. Bye, guys.